In the sweltering summer of 1776, the city of Philadelphia buzzed with an electric energy, a mix of fear, excitement, and a dash of rebellion. The streets were alive with the sounds of passionate debates and fervent whispers, each corner a stage for the unfolding drama of a nation on the brink of birth. This was no ordinary summer. It was a summer where history would pivot on the axis of courage and vision. As the sun blazed over the cobblestone streets, 5 men were poised to change the course of history. These were not just any men, but the Committee of Five, a group selected by the Continental Congress to draft a declaration that would echo through time. They were an unlikely band of brothers: Thomas Jefferson, the eloquent Virginian with a pen as sharp as his intellect; John Adams, the fiery and opinionated Bostonian; Benjamin Franklin, the wise and witty elder statesman with a knack for turning a phrase; Roger Sherman, the shrewd Connecticut lawyer with a mind for detail; and Robert R. Livingston, the young, ambitious diplomat from New York. Their task was monumental: to craft a document that would justify the colony's break from British rule, a Declaration of Independence. The air in their meeting room was thick with the weight of responsibility and the heat of a Philadelphia summer. Outside, the American Revolution simmered, a conflict born from years of growing discontent. Taxation without representation, the Boston Tea Party, the intolerable acts. These were not just events, but fuel for a fire that was about to engulf the colonies. The people hungered for freedom, for a nation of their own, free from the yoke of a distant king. And so, with quills in hand and destiny calling, the Committee of Five set out to draft a document that would not just declare independence, but define the very soul of a new nation. In the bustling, heat-soaked streets of Philadelphia, a revolutionary spirit was stirring. It was a time when words held the power of bullets, and ideas could ignite the passions of an entire continent. The Continental Congress, a gathering of colonial leaders, had become the heart of this burgeoning rebellion. Here, in cramped, smoke-filled rooms, the fate of the colonies was being fiercely debated. Among the sea of voices, 2 stood out with particular force: John Adams of Massachusetts and Richard Henry Lee of Virginia. Adams, with his sharp tongue and fiery spirit, was a whirlwind of passion and conviction. He argued with the intensity of a preacher, his words striking like thunderbolts, rallying his fellow delegates to the cause of freedom. Beside him, Lee, a towering figure with a commanding presence, echoed Adams' sentiments with equal fervor. He was the kind of man who, when he spoke, others couldn't help but listen. Together, they formed a formidable duo, united by a shared vision that would alter the course of history. They spoke not just of grievances and injustices, but of a bold, radical idea: independence. To them, it was more than just a political statement. It was a dream of a free and self-governing nation, a beacon of hope in a world ruled by monarchs and emperors. As the debates raged on, the idea of independence gained momentum, fueled by the eloquence and unrelenting determination of Adams and Lee. They faced opposition, of course. There were many who feared the consequences of such a drastic move. But in the hearts of the young, their words ignited a fire that could not be quenched. Finally, the momentous day arrived. Richard Henry Lee rose, his voice resonating through the hall, and presented a resolution that would forever change the course of the American colonies, a call for independence from British rule. The room, so often filled with noise and argument, fell silent. It was a silence not of doubt, but of realization. The Rubicon had been crossed. There was no turning back now. In the wake of Lee's resolution, the Congress made a decisive move. They appointed a committee, a group of 5 men charged with an extraordinary task, to draft a declaration that would announce to the world the birth of a new nation. This Committee of 5 was a mosaic of the colony's finest minds: Thomas Jefferson, the brilliant Virginian writer; John Adams, the fiery advocate; Benjamin Franklin, the wise elder statesman; Roger Sherman, the shrewd lawyer; and Robert R. Livingston, the diplomatic young statesmen. Their mission was daunting. They were tasked with creating a document that would not only declare independence, but would also articulate the ideals and aspirations of a new nation. It was a document that had to be bold, inspiring, and unequivocal. The weight of this responsibility was immense, as were the dangers. In signing such a document, they were committing an act of treason against the mightiest empire on earth. Yet they were undeterred, driven by the belief that the cause of liberty was worth any risk. As they set to work, the city around them simmered with anticipation. News of the committee's task spread like wildfire, igniting discussions in taverns, homes, and streets. Young men, much like those listening to this story, felt the surge of excitement and the pull of destiny. They knew they were living in extraordinary times, a period where every action, every word, would shape the future of a nation yet to be born. In that hot Philadelphia summer, as the Committee of Five toiled over drafts and phrases, a new world was being forged. It was a world built not on the whims of kings and queens, but on the ideals of freedom, equality, and the unyielding spirit of a people determined to govern themselves. And so the stage was set, the players in place. The drama of a nation's birth was unfolding, and at its heart was an idea, a simple yet powerful idea, the idea of independence. In the simmering summer of 1776, as Philadelphia teemed with revolutionary fervor, a young Virginian stood at the epicenter of a historical whirlwind. Thomas Jefferson, known for his eloquent prose and fervent belief in individual liberty, was about to undertake a task that would etch his name into the annals of history. Chosen for his masterful way with words and progressive political philosophy, Jefferson was entrusted with a responsibility of monumental proportions: to draft the Declaration of Independence. The scene was set in a modest, rented room on Market Street. Here, away from the cacophony of the Continental Congress and the ceaseless murmurs of the public, Jefferson sought the solitude necessary for such a formidable undertaking. It was in this quiet, unassuming space that the seeds of a nation were to be sown, surrounded by a clutter of books, papers, and his trusty quill. Jefferson embarked on a journey not just of political expression, but of deep personal and philosophical reflection. The task before him was not merely to declare the colony's intention to break free from British rule, but to articulate the very ideals upon which a new nation would be built. The air was thick with the weight of expectation and the oppressive Philadelphia heat. Yet Jefferson's mind was alight with the fire of inspiration. Day and night he wrestled with words and ideas, striving to capture the essence of an unprecedented political experiment. His quill danced across the parchment, driven by a blend of inspiration and desperation, as he sought to distill complex thoughts into clear, resonant prose. Jefferson's vision was significantly shaped by the Enlightenment thinkers of his time. The works of John Locke, with his ideas of natural rights and government by consent, loomed large in Jefferson's mind. Voltaire's advocacy for freedom of speech and Rousseau's concepts of popular sovereignty also echoed through the young drafter's thoughts. It was a synthesis of these revolutionary ideas, melded with Jefferson's own experiences and beliefs, that formed the backbone of the Declaration. As he delved deeper into the drafting process, Jefferson found himself not just penning a political statement, but giving voice to the highest aspirations of humanity, the pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness. He wrote and rewrote, each iteration sharper and more compelling than the last. Phrases like, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal," were not just lines of text, but thunderous declarations of a new societal paradigm. In those long, solitary hours, Jefferson wrestled with the enormity of his task. He was acutely aware that his words would not just proclaim a separation from the British crown, but would lay the cornerstone for a new nation, one founded on ideals that challenged the very order of the world. It was a task that would have daunted lesser men, but Jefferson, fueled by conviction and a sense of destiny, pressed on. The final product of Jefferson's labor was more than a mere document. It was a testament to the power of ideas and the unquenchable human thirst for freedom. In his draft, the spirit of the Enlightenment was alive, breathing fire into the hearts of those who dared to dream of a better world. As Jefferson emerged from his self-imposed isolation, his initial draft in hand, he was not just carrying a piece of parchment. He was carrying the hopes and dreams of a people yearning to break free from the chains of oppression. His draft was not just an announcement of rebellion, but a declaration of a new vision for mankind. In crafting the Declaration of Independence, Thomas Jefferson became more than a statesman. He became the pen of revolution, a symbol of the transformative power of ideas and the unyielding human pursuit of liberty and justice. For the young men listening, Jefferson's story is a reminder that words, when wielded with conviction and clarity, can indeed change the world. As the summer of 1776 marched on, the streets of Philadelphia hummed with rumors and anticipation. Inside a modest room, a different kind of storm was brewing. Thomas Jefferson had just completed his draft of the Declaration of Independence, a document pulsating with revolutionary ideas. But this was just the beginning. The draft was now in the hands of the Committee of Five, where it would face the crucible of collaboration and conflict. The committee, composed of some of the most brilliant minds of the era, was a melting pot of differing opinions and temperaments. Alongside Jefferson were John Adams, the passionate and direct Massachusetts delegate; Benjamin Franklin, the elder statesman known for his wit and wisdom; Roger Sherman, the pragmatic and detail-oriented Connecticut lawyer; and Robert R. Livingston, the young diplomatic New Yorker. Each brought their own perspectives and ideals to the table, setting the stage for a series of intense debates and discussions. The first to dive into Jefferson's draft were Adams and Franklin, both seasoned wordsmiths in their own right. Adams, ever the outspoken critic, wasted no time in scrutinizing every line for clarity and impact. He argued for succinctness and power in the language, ensuring that every word served the purpose of rallying the colonies to the cause of independence. Franklin, meanwhile, applied his unique blend of wisdom and subtlety to the text. With a keen eye for detail and a flair for the elegant turn of phrase, he smoothed out the rough edges of Jefferson's prose. His suggestions often brought a lightness to the weighty topics at hand, ensuring the document maintained a balance of seriousness and accessibility. Yet, amidst the linguistic refinements and philosophical debates, a darker conflict lurked: the issue of slavery. This contentious topic threatened to fracture the fragile unity the committee sought to forge. Jefferson, a slave owner himself, had included a passage in his draft condemning the British monarchy's involvement in the transatlantic slave trade. However, this was a thorny subject for many, especially delegates from the southern colonies, where slavery was an entrenched institution. The debates that ensued were heated and fraught with tension. Some argued fervently for the inclusion of the passage, seeing it as a moral imperative. Others contended that such a condemnation could alienate crucial support from the southern colonies, potentially derailing the entire push for independence. The discussions often stretched late into the night, fueled by a mix of idealism and pragmatic concerns. In the end, the necessity of presenting a united front against the British Crown took precedence. The committee made the difficult decision to exclude the passage on slavery from the final draft. This compromise, while pragmatic, left a bitter taste in the mouths of many, including Jefferson. It was a stark reminder that the road to independence and the creation of a new nation would be fraught with moral and ethical dilemmas. The final version of the Declaration of Independence was a testament to the art of compromise and collaboration. It was a document forged in the fires of debate and refined through the lens of diverse perspectives. Adams' insistence on conciseness and Franklin's flair for eloquence were evident in the final draft, as was Jefferson's foundational vision of freedom and equality. As the Committee of Five presented their work to the Continental Congress, It was clear that the document was more than the sum of its parts. It was a collective statement of purpose, a declaration of a people's right to self-determination, and a beacon of hope in an uncertain world. For the young men listening, the story of the Committee of Five is a powerful lesson in teamwork, perseverance, and the complex nature of change. It shows that progress often requires difficult choices and compromises, and that even in the pursuit of a noble cause, there are no easy answers. It is a reminder that great achievements are rarely the work of a single individual, but rather the collective effort of many, united by a common goal. July 1776, Philadelphia. The air was thick with summer heat and the electric buzz of anticipation. The Second Continental Congress, a gathering of representatives from the 13 colonies, was about to witness a moment that would forever alter the course of history. The Committee of Five, after days of intense drafting and debates, was ready to present their masterpiece, the Declaration of Independence. As Thomas Jefferson, flanked by John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Roger Sherman, and Robert R. Livingston, stepped into the chamber, a hush fell over the assembly. The delegates, representing a tapestry of interests and backgrounds, eyed the document with a mix of curiosity, excitement, and apprehension. It was more than just a piece of paper. It was the embodiment of a nation's voice, a call for freedom that would resonate through the ages. Jefferson, with a voice steady but charged with emotion, began to read. Each word, each phrase, reverberated through the hall, capturing the essence of the colony's struggle and aspirations. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, he proclaimed, and the words seemed to hang in the air, a bold declaration of a new vision for mankind. But as Jefferson's voice faded, the chamber erupted into a frenzy of debate. The document, as powerful as it was, had opened a Pandora's box of tensions and disagreements. Representatives from the diverse colonies, each with their own cultures, economies, and interests, clashed over the implications of such a bold step towards independence. The New England delegates, hardened by years of direct conflict with British troops, were ardent supporters of the Declaration. They saw it as a beacon of hope, a chance to throw off the shackles of tyranny. In contrast, many from the middle and southern colonies were gripped by fear of the unknown. They worried about the economic repercussions, the potential for devastating war, and the challenges of uniting such diverse regions into a cohesive nation. The debates raged on, with the floor of Congress turning into a battleground of words and wills. Adams, ever the firebrand, argued fervently for independence. Franklin, with his trademark blend of wit and wisdom, appealed to the delegates' sense of unity and common destiny. Meanwhile, Jefferson watched silently, his heart pounding with each argument for and against the words he had so painstakingly crafted. As the hours turned into days, the tide began to turn. The vision of a free and independent nation, united in its diversity, began to take hold. The compelling arguments of the Declaration's proponents, coupled with the growing realization that reconciliation with Britain was a lost cause, swayed more and more delegates. Then came the dramatic lead-up to the vote. The air was tense, thick with the weight of the moment. One by one, the colonies cast their votes. The room was a mix of anxious murmurs and bated breaths as each delegation announced its position. Finally, with New York abstaining due to a lack of clear instructions from their constituents, the Declaration was approved unanimously among the voting colonies. The chamber erupted into cheers and applause, a cacophony of relief, joy, and a touch of fear. They had done it. They had committed to the path of independence, to the forging of a new nation. For the young men listening, this tale is more than just a historical recount. It's a story of courage, of conviction, and the incredible power of unity in the face of daunting challenges. It's a reminder that great endeavors often begin with a single voice, but require the chorus of many to truly resonate. It is a testament to the fact that while the path to greatness is often fraught with conflict and disagreement, it is through these trials that the strongest bonds are forged and the most enduring legacies are built. As the delegates spilled out into the streets of Philadelphia, the news of their decision spread like wildfire. A declaration of independence, a bold statement of freedom and equality, had been made. A new nation was being born, and its voice was one of defiance, hope, and an unyielding belief in the unalienable rights of every individual. The dawn of destiny had arrived, and the world would never be the same. The summer of 1776 witnessed a crescendo of rebellion that would reverberate through time. As the ink dried on the freshly approved Declaration of Independence, a wave of anticipation swept through Philadelphia and beyond. The moment had come to unveil the colony's collective cry for freedom to the public. The scene at Independence Hall was electric, a sea of faces, young and old, from every walk of colonial life, gathered to hear the words that would mark the birth of a nation. Among them were spirited young men, much like the audience of this story, their eyes wide with the promise of witnessing history. A hush fell over the crowd as the document was brought forth. The moment the first words, "when in the course of human events," were read aloud, a surge of emotion swept over the assembly. Each sentence, each declaration of rights and grievances, struck a chord in the hearts of the listeners. The words of the Declaration didn't just speak to political freedom. They sang of hope, equality, and the unbreakable human spirit. The public reception was a mix of awe, jubilation, and an unspoken understanding of the gravity of this declaration. Tears were shed, hats thrown into the air, and voices raised in a chorus of support. It was a moment of unity and determination, a collective pledge to stand against tyranny. The impact of the Declaration was immediate and far-reaching. Practically, it served as a rallying cry for the war effort. Young men, inspired by the ideals enshrined in the document, enlisted in droves to fight for their newfound cause. The Declaration gave the conflict a moral dimension, transforming a regional rebellion into a fight for universal human rights. Internationally, the Declaration sent shockwaves. It announced to the world that the colonies were no longer just a British problem, but a new, self-proclaimed nation on the world stage. It opened doors for foreign aid and alliances, particularly with France, whose support would prove crucial in the coming years of war. The Declaration wasn't just a statement of intent, it was a beacon, signaling the birth of a new player in the global arena. Reflecting on the Declaration's enduring legacy, it's clear that its impact transcended the immediate context of the American Revolution. The ideals it articulated, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, became foundational principles that continue to inspire struggles for freedom and equality worldwide. The Declaration of Independence was more than a document. It was a testament to the indomitable human desire for self-determination and respect for inherent rights. For the young men listening, the story of the Declaration is a powerful reminder of the lasting impact of bold ideas and courageous actions. It illustrates how a single document, crafted in the heat of conflict and compromise, can echo through the ages, shaping not just the destiny of a nation, but the course of human history. As the sun set on that historic day in Philadelphia, the words of the Declaration continued to resonate, not just in the streets and homes of the colonies, but in the hearts and minds of all who yearned for freedom. The Declaration of Independence, in its essence, is a narrative of hope, a charter of liberty, and a declaration of the unyielding belief in the power of the people to shape their destiny. It stands as a timeless reminder that ideals, once boldly declared, can change the world. As the echoes of the Declaration of Independence faded from the streets of Philadelphia, a new chapter in the annals of history began. This was not just the end of a declaration, it was the dawn of a nation, a bold experiment in self-governance and liberty. The Declaration's impact was far-reaching, shaping not only the contours of the future United States, but also transforming the lives of those who had brought it to life. For the members of the Committee of Five, the Declaration was more than a political achievement. It was a personal odyssey that would define their roles in the emerging nation. Thomas Jefferson, the eloquent Virginian who penned the document, rose to become a symbol of American idealism, eventually leading the nation as its third president. His words in the Declaration would forever be a touchstone of his legacy, a testament to his belief in the power of human freedom and equality. John Adams, the fiery advocate from Massachusetts, whose relentless drive had helped bring the Declaration into being, also ascended to the presidency, becoming the nation's second leader. His role in championing the cause of independence and his subsequent leadership exemplified the spirit of the new nation, resilient, bold, and unyielding in the pursuit of its ideals. Benjamin Franklin, the wise elder statesman, continued to serve as a guiding light in the formative years of the United States. His diplomatic skills were instrumental in securing French support during the Revolutionary War, a key factor in the eventual victory. Franklin's legacy, shaped by his contributions to the Declaration, was that of a bridge between the old world and the new, a man who understood the power of unity and cooperation. Roger Sherman and Robert R. Livingston, though perhaps less celebrated in the annals of history, played crucial roles in the early governance of the nation, contributing to the shaping of its legal and political framework. Their involvement in the Declaration was a defining moment, setting them on a path of dedicated public service to the young republic. But the story of the Declaration of Independence does not end with its signers or the Revolutionary War. It is a living document, its words resonating through the centuries. It has become a beacon of hope and a symbol of the enduring quest for liberty and justice. Its ideals have inspired countless movements and revolutions around the world, echoing its profound assertion that all men are created equal and endowed with unalienable rights. For the young men listening to this tale, the Declaration stands as a reminder that ideas have power, that courage and conviction can change the course of history. It challenges each generation to live up to the ideals it proclaims, to continually strive towards a more perfect union. As we reflect on the journey from a room in Philadelphia to the global stage, the Declaration of Independence remains a testament to the enduring human spirit. It reminds us that the quest for freedom and equality is never-ending, that each generation must rise to the challenges of its time. The story of the Declaration is not just a chapter in a history book. It is a continuous call to action, a challenge to uphold and advance the ideals it embodies. It is a legacy that each of us inherits and a responsibility that we all share. For in the words of the Declaration, lie not just the foundations of a nation, but the hopes and aspirations of all who cherish liberty and pursue justice. As the dust settled on the revolutionary fervor of 1776 and the United States began its tumultuous journey as a fledgling nation, the lives of the Committee of Five, those architects of liberty, took various paths, each intertwined with the destiny of the nation they helped birth. Thomas Jefferson, the principal author, ascended to the highest office, becoming the third President of the United States. His presidency and post-political life were marked by significant achievements, including the Louisiana Purchase and the Lewis and Clark Expedition, which expanded the nation's horizons. Yet, his legacy remained a complex tapestry, woven with the ideals of liberty and the paradoxes of his time, including his own slave ownership. John Adams, the forceful advocate for independence, succeeded George Washington as the second president. His presidency faced trials and tribulations, from international tensions to domestic unrest. Post-presidency, Adams enjoyed a prolific correspondence with Jefferson. Their letters a treasure trove of insights into the era and its ideals. His role in shaping the early republic was pivotal, his commitment to its principles unwavering until his last breath. Benjamin Franklin, the oldest and perhaps the most multifaceted member, continued to serve the young nation as a diplomat and advisor. His later years were spent in philosophical pursuits and civic engagement. Franklin's wisdom, humor, and scientific curiosity left an indelible mark on American culture and thought. His death was mourned as the passing of a true Renaissance man. Roger Sherman, known for his legal acumen, continued to influence the nation's development. He was a key figure in the creation of the Constitution, playing a crucial role in the drafting of the Connecticut Compromise, which helped shape the structure of the U.S. Congress. His commitment to public service remained steadfast throughout his life. Robert R. Livingston, though often overshadowed by his more famous colleagues, had a distinguished career, including administering the oath of office to George Washington and negotiating the Louisiana Purchase alongside James Monroe. His contributions, though less celebrated, were integral to the nation's early diplomatic and legal framework. As centuries passed, the Declaration of Independence transcended its original context, becoming a living, breathing document, its relevance and interpretation evolving with each generation. In modern times, it continues to be a source of inspiration and debate, a touchstone for discussions on liberty, equality, and human rights. For young men in the 21st century, the Declaration stands as a beacon of the power of ideas and the impact of courageous action. It challenges them to reflect on the responsibilities that come with freedom and the ongoing struggle to fulfill the promises of liberty and justice for all. The Declaration's words have echoed through various pivotal moments in history, from the abolitionist movement to the civil rights era, and continue to resonate in contemporary discussions about social justice and global human rights. Its assertion that all men are created equal has been both a rallying cry for change and a reminder of unfulfilled aspirations. In the lives and legacies of the Committee of Five, we see the embodiment of the Declaration's ideals and the complexities of living up to them. Their stories are a testament to the notion that the pursuit of liberty and justice is an ongoing journey, one that requires each generation to rise to its challenges and opportunities. As our story concludes, the Declaration of Independence stands not just as a relic of the past, but as a living dialogue between the ideals of a bygone era and the realities of the present. It invites young men and women of today to engage with its principles, to debate, interpret, and strive towards realizing its vision in their own lives and communities. Thus, the legacy of the Committee of Five and their monumental work continues. A never-ending conversation about the meaning of freedom, the pursuit of happiness, and the unalienable rights that belong to all humanity. In this ongoing relevance lies the true power of the Declaration of Independence, a document not only of its time, but for all time. Thanks for watching today. Make sure to check out our other series on the Founding Fathers, the Bill of Rights, or the other amendments.